A motion to vacate alleging fraud upon the court in the SEC versus Reggie Middleton case is officially on the docket. I'm going to get into that, but before I do, a quick disclaimer. I'd like to advise that the content provided in this video is intended strictly for informational and educational purposes only. This video constitutes a research opinion and should be regarded as such. All claims, statements, allegations, and opinions contained within are based on publicly available information and are allegations unless and until proven in a court of law, and are not intended to malign, defame, or harm the reputation of those mentioned. All such statements are offered solely as opinions protected under the principles of free speech, adding, I am not a lawyer or a financial advisor, and I'm not employed by Veritaseum or paid by any other entities or sponsors. Okay, so this is the article I released on Friday, the SEC's Smoking Guns, Misconduct Meets Overreach, and I started out by asking, will the SEC defend its alleged fraud? So on March 13th, 2025, Reggie Middleton, founder of Veritaseum, filed a motion to vacate the consent order and judgment in the SEC versus Reggie Middleton et al., alleging fraud upon the court by the SEC. A letter from his attorney, Franklin Jason Siebert, requested a delay in the SEC's briefing schedule, originally set for opposition papers by March 14th and replies by March 21st. So this is the letter that was submitted to the court by Reggie's attorney, Jason Siebert, and here it has a modified schedule. Right here, it says revised scheduling order as stipulated would be as follows. 2 weeks after disposition of defendants, motion to vacate consent order and judgment for fraud upon the court. Opposition papers, if any, are served on the SEC. 1 week later, reply papers, if any, must be served by the SEC. So this is not really clear to me whether this 2 weeks starts after March 14th, but another letter that was submitted to the court was shared with me, and this one says here, we propose the following schedule for the court's consideration. April 11th, 2025, the defendant's moving papers to be filed. May 2nd, 2025, the SEC opposition, if any, to the motion to be filed. And May 9th, 2025, the defendant's response, if any, to be filed by defendants. So again, this is just a proposal. This is not a confirmed schedule, but this is what looks to be the new schedule moving forward until we find out differently. So now going back to the article, a lot of this is covered in the video I did on the bar complaint against Jorge Tenreiro. I'll link that video in the comments below. So I'm not going to cover that here, but I am going to touch on what I think are the 3 smoking guns in the case against the SEC. So the first one is obviously the patents. So the SEC falsely claimed patents were not novel, stalled, and would never be granted, claiming Reggie, quote, misled investors about the status of Veritaseum's IP, end quote. And of course, a total of 7 patents have since been granted, with 3 in the US and 4 in Japan. These patents, titled Devices, Systems, and Methods for Facilitating Low Trust and Zero Trust Value Transfers, are foundational to DeFi, tokenized assets, NFTs, stablecoins, proof of stake, and proof of work. Coinbase filed an IPR challenge, IPR 2023-00751, in an attempt to invalidate these patents. The USPTO upheld the patents, denying the IPR challenge based on lack of merit, further strengthening the validity of the patents. So the second smoking gun is the Vader platform functionality. So a live demonstration was performed in front of SEC staff, and days later Reggie was told to shut it down, or shut the platform down. Tenreiro then claimed the Vader platform was not functional. The V-Test channel on YouTube has videos that prove the functionality, but as shown in his affidavit, the owner was threatened by Tenreiro. Quote, the line of questioning quickly turned aggressive, abusive, and threatening, and he was told to cease making videos, quote, through threats of multiple felony charges against me for supporting Mr. Middleton, testing his software, and publicizing the results through my YouTube channel, end quote. So this is pretty damning, because not only does V-Test channel prove that the Vader platform was functional, his affidavit also proves that he was threatened into censorship and basically was told to stop making videos. So this channel is still up, but the owner has since lost access to the channel. But the videos are still there, and they can be viewed. So again, VTest channel on YouTube shows all of the tutorials of the Vader platform functionality. So the number 3 smoking gun, in my opinion, is misrepresenting ownership of the Kraken corporate account as personal. Now, in another post that I did right here, it shows a letter from Covington on July 16th, 2018, and here it specifically shows the Kraken account number. So Jorge Tenreiro should have known almost a year, actually over a year before filing for the temporary restraining order, that the Kraken account was in fact a corporate account, and he could have confirmed that by using this Kraken number right here. But going back to the article, there's also further proof here. Now I'm just going to read this here. So Jorge Tenreiro failed to correct the record after expert witness Patrick Duty corrected his statements. Quote, "I understand now that the account is titled in the name of Veritaseum LLC. This is found on the last page of his second declaration, also detailed on page 20 of the SEC RICO dossier." Now here is an image of a post from Reggie Middleton, and here it says it has to be for the LLC. Kraken is not licensed to do business in New York. So Reggie Middleton is a New York resident and points out that Kraken is not licensed to do business in New York, making it impossible for him to have a personal Kraken account, as found on Kraken's support page under geographic restrictions. And here is an image of those restrictions. At this time, Kraken does not offer services to residents of Maine, New York, and Washington State. So number 4 or 5 are kind of related to this in the sense that the misrepresentation of asset flow actually flows, or allegedly flows, through this Kraken personal account, but in fact it was a corporate account under Veritaseum LLC. So these are what I believe to be the most damning smoking guns proving fraud upon the court by the SEC. There are others, such as the false allegations regarding agreements, the Jamaican Stock Exchange Memorandum of Understanding, and the Nigerian Stock Exchange Joint Venture Agreement, basically saying they didn't have any deals in place, or they were merely negotiating deals, but they were well beyond the negotiating stage at this point, and the SEC destroyed these deals. So again, I talked about a lot of these in the bar complaint against Jorge Tenreiro, and I added them to this article with a lot of links so people can search through this. Anyone new to the case can find all the sources here in this article, and I even included older articles like Did the SEC Commit Fraud?, the SEC RICO doc, and the bar complaint against Jorge Tenreiro. The AGC passes complaint back to the SEC, as well as all the source links. So this is a pretty detailed article, so anyone that wants to go through that has access to all the evidence in the case, basically. So I'm going to end it here, but before I go, I want to give a quick thank you to a bunch of people that have donated to help support my work. It really is appreciated, and this all started with me bitching about X raising their monthly subscription fees, and Florian reached out offering to help cover some of those fees, and then it kicked off this whole coffee campaign here. So I want to say thank you, Florian, and everyone else. Eddie actually helped get the interview with Sarah Westall and Reggie Middleton back when all this kind of started going downhill. So thank you, Eddie, Michael, Bill, Jamie, Marshall, Eric, Divyendu, John, Henry, JP, Max, Mark, you, Jay, Hollywood, Michael, Lily, Hussein, Jitu, and Michelin. Thank you so much. I'm humbled by the support, and I really do appreciate it. It means the world to me. And I'd like to also send a special thanks to everyone that helps by liking, sharing, and commenting on my videos and posts. It really is a community effort. If it wasn't for you guys, my posts and whatnot would really go nowhere. So thank you all for helping support my work. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.